Aloha, everybody, and welcome to the Joy Schtick Show, a podcast where three friends from high school in Hawaii get together to chat about the latest things we've watched, read, and played. I'm Thomas, and I'm joined with Scott.
How's it?
And today we have an amazing, talented, very special guest. We got connected through a mutual friend, Yaya. Shout out to Yaya in Honolulu. Yeah, she's the best. But he's a fellow Pacific Islander, a talented actor, voice actor, and writer. We are here with Tom Tarkong Michelsen. Tom,
how's it? Yeah, how's it, guys? Thanks for having me. Happy to be on here and cruise with some local boys for a change.
Gee, all right. Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, that's why you were like, I was doing some deep Instagram stalking. I'm like, this is the guy that has to be on the show. Like, this is the brand right here.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what are my like old posts. Oh God, maybe they're like cringe. I don't even know.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, somewhere.
No, actually. One that I think some of your old super fans may like, and something I desperately want to see again. When can we expect to see mail order Clint again?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a good deep cut. Wow, you guys did your research.
That's
right.
I
love it. Joy Schtick Show, don't
I'm
play.
A fan.
Yeah, dude, that's such a funny character.
Oh, awesome! Thanks, man. Yeah, that was a character that I created through the Groundlings, which is in a comedy improv school here in LA. And I got to perform that on the Groundlings stage. Nice. And I definitely am not one to boast, but I could tell that character did very well. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot of fun, and people loved it. And and it's funny because like that is just the most extreme, weird, crazy parts of just myself, which is hilarious. You know what I mean? Like, for people who listening who don't know, like it was this like nerd character who like carried around this like toy lightsaber, and like that's not a prop. I didn't buy that for the show. I had that already. You know what I'm talking about?
For sure, yeah.
Exactly.
So that's the kind of thing, and plus all the clothes is like I have that X-Men shirt that I wore. Like that's all my normal outfit. The only thing I threw on was a weird wig. And so I just made this like weird, nerdy, awkward guy, and it's because it's kind of one of those things, like I'm a very outgoing person and I'm a very sociable, but I think like everybody, and especially people who might come from like the nerd community, it's you can be awkward sometimes, especially talking about your fandoms with other people who aren't fans of all the nerdy things we love. So I just channeled that kind of awkwardness of trying to connect with somebody and not really being able to, but thinking you are, that was a really fun character. It's I've talked with some friends. We always talk about maybe filming or writing some new sketches, especially in the slow times with all the strikes happening right now in Hollywood.
Right.
So hey, you might see him pretty soon. Where I'm talking with some friends right now about putting some stuff together, and if it's not him, it'll definitely be some other sketches, but definitely we want to bring Clint back for some funny stuff. Yeah.
Heck yeah, that'd be amazing.
Absolutely, man.
Oh, I'm so glad you guys watched it and liked it. Thanks.
Absolutely. That had me cracking up. Based on that, though, you talked a little bit about working with Groundlings.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little taste of what that was like? And how has improv kind of shaped your world?
Oh, man. The Groundlings it was pretty amazing and scary in a lot of ways. It's like one, if not the like premier comedy improv character school and definitely in LA, and definitely one of the top in the country or if not world. And so when I went in, I was expecting it to kind of be almost like school, right? Like I'd get there and I'd learn and all right, let's do this. But I didn't realize that there's a lot of internal pressure people put on themselves when they go.
Oh yeah.
And almost immediately, without people really trying, it felt so competitive. Because you're getting in there and like you have to pass to go to the next level, right? And then you go to the next level. And then theoretically, there's less and less spots as you go up. And then to be one of the Groundlings, there's maybe like 20 spots, give or take. Yeah. And those are the people getting picked for Saturday Night Live, right?
Right.
So as you go, like it gets super competitive, and that was the one thing I loved it, but that was one thing I didn't like because I was like, oh man, I'm not trying to comedy is so subjective, and I'm not competing really against anybody else. I'm just trying to get good myself, and I'm trying to perform and get out there and get on stage, get reps, and And it was it was interesting, and maybe that was part of just the whole learning curve of coming to LA and Hollywood in general. But it was really competitive, and there were people like after a bad improv scene, which we've all had if you've done improv, and you know, some of us it's most of our bad scenes. Yeah, most of our scenes are not. There's people in the hallways like screaming at themselves, like punching wall, and I'm like, oh man, this is improv. Yeah, everybody got to slow down. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be fun.
Chill. Right. It's supposed to be fun, and it was as you move up, it gets in some ways not as fun. But that being said, it was an invaluable experience, and I wouldn't have had that character Clint if it wasn't for that. And I've met some lifelong friends that I collaborate and work on projects with to this day from that. So no, it was an amazing experience, and it was a really interesting way to do improv differently. Like, I'm not sure if you guys do a lot of character improv and improv if you've done. Usually it's like games, right? Like,
yeah, we haven't done improv together. In years, but there was a time we were definitely doing character stuff. Now,
for sure,
I need to practice because mine are terrible. Scott still kills it, but
that's great.
Yeah,
still a lot of fun. Yeah, we did a little we did short form, we did some long form stuff, and like some
nice
stuff, and But it's been
personally, I didn't. I just kind of fell into improv kind of naturally, just being a outgoing person who who likes to make people laugh, and I didn't even know it's how naive I was even moving out to Hollywood. I didn't even really make that distinction of character. Like in my head, it's kind of like, if something comes up naturally as a character, you're doing it, as opposed to this is a character improv show, and if you're not doing a character, then you need to get off the stage, kind of a thing, right? That's what I didn't understand when I got to the Groundlings. I was like, oh shit, we're doing this is like the NBA. All of a sudden, I'm trying out for the NBA here, and it's this specific thing. That was the other thing too. It's like it's like that. I like that quote from Star Trek, the newer ones, where it's like trying to hit a bullet while with a bow and arrow while riding a horse. It's like this specific target, and if you don't hit it, then then you're screwed. So it was interesting because I didn't realize that there was character only improv. And if you go to the Groundlings and you aren't doing characters, then they're going to show you the door. So I was like, whoa, damn.
Mm-hmm. Well, man, you're masterful at the characters I've seen already. So I can understand, like, you're probably nervous, but you crushed it. Everything that I've seen online was like,
I was so nervous.
Damn, that guy's funny and he's good.
Well, that's another thing too. I think, that a lot of performers have and do is like, you always are, as you're human, you're going to have anxiety, you're going to be nervous, but there's, at least for me, I can channel that into it's almost like I use it as fuel to push my performance farther. It's like the scarier I am, the more, exactly. I just totally channel the dark side, or it's like I go Super Saiyan like in that moment, and it grounds me even more, where I could just commit even harder. And so, which is funny because that's one of my little comedy pet peeves. It's not a big deal, but when I see, most of the time, there's a few times it's okay, but most of the time when I see people break in a sketch scene, that just irks me so much. It's like, dude, you need to be in it,
Right. Don't watch any of our old improv. Don't do it.
No. That being said, I've broke before, and there are times, like there's that recent SNL sketch with Ego Wodum, where she's cutting the meat on the table, and
was it Pedro Pascal?
Loses it. That kills me. So like there are times where it's great. I'm just saying, as a general kind of, and this is my own self-imposed rule, even for myself. It's like, if you have time to break, maybe you're not paying attention. I think that's because that's a problem I have.
I see.
Where maybe I'm not paying attention. So I was like, I need to be in this right now. But in any case,
sometimes. Go for it, Scott.
Oh no, I was gonna say when you see someone who like never break, like that's like, I feel like it's even funnier. I never laugh. Like I can laugh.
Like watching Will Ferrell break is like the best thing. Whereas watching Jimmy Fallon do it is not that funny. Yeah, because it happens every other sketch.
That's true.
Season.
He was the.
So you're exactly right, Scott. You're exactly right. Yeah.
Totally. Well, that's amazing. I mean, props to you for even doing it. That's just incredible.
No, thanks, bro.
I think we had something else. Scott, did you want to ask him the next thing?
Oh yeah. So sorry to bring it back to Clint, but with Clint, we recognize you are a nerd just like us. So when did the love of nerd pop culture start for you?
I would say I was kind of always exposed to it. I grew up in Micronesia. We didn't even have cable TV, but my dad had like the Star Wars VHSs. And so that was one of a thing where I don't even remember the first time I watched it. It would just be on sometimes, kind of a thing. And I remember, not even knowing, like what movie I was even watching. Was it A New Hope? Was it Empire? Like, it was one of those things where it would be on sometimes.
And then you catch a scene here, a scene there.
Yeah, exactly. It was just something I was aware of. But I think the thing that really turned me to the dark side, to bring it back to that, was X-Men the animated series. Like that hit me at my age at a perfect time where I was like, oh shit, these can be like heavy. And I remember there was that scene in one of the early episodes where there was a mutant who was being targeted by the Friends of Humanity, and he's like, I don't even have powers, I just look weird, and they were like hating on. I remember me being a little kid. I think I understood the what they were trying to say, and it turned on light bulbs in my head about, oh man, like you could treat people differently just for being and looking different, and little things like that. It awoke my mind in a way I didn't even realize. But it was X-Men the animated series for sure. That's what started it, and that's why to this day X-Men's my like number one. Like everything, and it's 90s Jim Lee X-Men in particular.
Move over, Scott. I got a new best friend now.
This guy.
That was the right answer.
X-Men? Was it X-Men for you too, Thomas?
Yeah. So I just put out a video on our channel reacting to the picture of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman walking. Yes. So
that's right. I saw you comment on when I posted about it too, where I'm like, yeah, this is what we wanted, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like I went up to my wife after. I was like, this might be the second happiest day of my life, and she's like, are you kidding me? Are you about to cry? I'm like, I think I'm about to cry. She's like, oh god, out of here. But
god, that's so funny.
That show incredible, and I relate to that so much. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, so here's my one of my X-Men stories. I went to Midpack on Oahu, and I would go back to Palau for like summers and Christmas when the dorm was closed. And X-Men the movie in 2000 came out over the summer, like June or July, and of course I was in Palau.
Near my birthday.
Theaters. Oh, was it? Oh man, amazing! It must have been the best birthday ever.
All the friends. That's what we did. I brought all the friends to the movie. I was like, Dad, can I bring my friends to this? And that's what we did for my birthday. And
did it come out in May? I don't remember if it was May. It was either May or June. Yeah. But I remember I didn't get back to Hawaii until August because school was starting. Okay. So those were the longest like 3 months summer of my life. And the minute I got back, so I was staying with my auntie who lives in Makakilo.
Okay.
And this was before Kapolei became Second City and all that stuff. And so I remember I got to her house and I made plans. Like I didn't even like ask for a ride because I was like too ashamed to like ask her. She already was like hosting me and she's the sweetest, and I didn't like asking her for stuff. Anyway, I was like, can I go watch a movie? I'm going to walk. She was like, you're going to walk? I was like, yeah. And I walked from her house in Makakilo to the Kapolei theaters, which was probably about like 3.5-4 miles.
Nice, that's dedication.
And it's like up the Makakilo hill too. And I was no complaints. I walked right, and I walked right up to like an 11:30 movie because I just got in the night before. Like one, please, X-Men. And that was the greatest freaking movie ever. You know what I mean? Like getting to see them on screen for the first time. Oh god, that was amazing. So that X-Men movie. Oh my god, so good.
Yeah, it's up there in cinematic experiences for me too. It's like I already said it. Infinity War, Endgame. You guys can watch the video, but
wait, which theater did you watch X-Men at? It was in a Mililani, or did you go like
Mililani Consolidated Theater? I think what is
Consolidated?
It? 13 or 14?
14plex.
14plex, yeah. And then it comes in with the drums and the marching.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Oh my gosh! Every time when I go home, I have to watch a movie to see that.
Yeah,
Scott, you probably take it for granted, man. I miss that so much. Now I get to see Nicole Kidman.
I was about to say that. I was like, I'm so tired of Nicole Kidman. What I would give to see some malos and like a ipu and like having them go at it. You know what's funny is one of the guys in that, he's a kumu of the hula classes at Midpack.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So one of my buddies who was in the halal, like when we were watching, every time he'd be like, "That's my kumu, baby. That's my kumu."
Yeah.
And I think of that every time I see
good.
it. I'm like, even though he was not my kumu, I'm like, "That's my kumu, baby."
Yeah.
By proxy, yeah. You're like,
by proxy,
that's
exactly.
Mine too. Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
Well, it's the halal of mid-pack, so it's kind of my halal, right? Kind of.
Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
That's true. You're related. You're related.
Exactly.
So you know what? I think we're on this really good track, and I think I want to skip around, Scott. Let's go to question 4 from Drake. While you drink water.
Okay, here we go. You want me to get okay? So Drake's not here today, but he has a great question. He's like, "You're from Palau, a fellow Pacific Islander. We are proud peoples." So it's a 2-part question.
Okay.
For you, what does your heritage mean to you, and how do you rep your heritage in your work?
Oh man, that's a heavy question. Good question. Thank you for that question, Drake. Sorry you're not here. It's very important to me of a Pacific Island heritage, and I think that for me personally, I have I would imagine a little bit more unique of a journey. So, I'm Hapa. My dad's white, and I was born in Maine in the States, but we moved out to the islands to Micronesia when I was like 5 months old. So I was raised out there, but my parents wanted me to have a quote good education.
Yeah.
So they made it a point to teach me English, like, or have me only speak English.
You speak better English than me.
Yeah, well, for sure. Yeah, same.
Thanks, Dad. Yeah, he's got the good English in our family, and so because at school they're teaching all the kids English. I kind of grew up in this weird bubble where I didn't grow up speaking my own language, like Palauan. I mean, I don't, and when I got to, and I think then I got to mid-pack, and then now I'm like, well, so in Palau, I was in Micronesia. I'm feeling like a little bit of an outsider because I was like, I'm Palauan, but I don't really speak Palauan that much, and I'm lighter. I don't look like everybody else. And then I go to Hawaii, and then like, where you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from Palau, so I'm not even really from Hawaii, And then I come out to Cali, and they're like, "Where are you from?" Like, and I in a weird way, I feel like an outsider almost everywhere I am. And so, but my Pacific Islander background in general, whether it be like Hawaii or Palau, like that's the biggest part of my identity because that's all I've known until I moved out to the mainland. Like I grew up in the islands, like regardless, like And so being a Pacific Islander is like my entire identity. I mean, I see like my hat, and I wear slippers everywhere I go. I'm notorious for like slipper tans, like out here.
Nice.
And then or sandals. Sorry.
Yeah,
sandals.
No, I bet everybody was like slippers. What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh, I have that conversation. Oh yeah, I have that conversation like twice a day. It seems like. Yeah, well, that, and also when I hear people say karaoke and not karaoke, I'm like,
oh yeah,
ooh, cringe,
cringe.
Not cringe on that.
But being Pacific Islander is like just a huge part of my identity. And as your second part of the question, how do I rep it in my everyday life?
Yeah, how do you rep it in your work?
Yeah, or in my work. Yeah, I definitely try to lead with that. And one of the things I did recently is like, adding my Palauan name into my what I would call stage name, having Tarkong Michelsen, because I want people to know, just looking at my name, because I have what I consider a very white name, Tom Michelsen, right? That almost
Thomas Craig. So
right, exactly. You guys know, especially growing up mixed or growing up in the islands, like we all have different ethnicities and backgrounds, but your name on a piece of paper is gonna already like tell people a story a little bit about you. And I found out here everybody thinks I'm something different, but most people think I'm like Hispanic. And one of the things that I get a lot of like Hispanic kind of auditions sometimes. And like it'll say in the breakdown, it'll be like, oh, like, yeah, here's this 30-year-old Hispanic guy. And I kind of like look at those extra careful because if there's any Spanish in them, I'm kind of like, nah, like I don't speak Spanish. I'm not Hispanic,
Right.
Like I could play maybe a Hispanic person or like someone who's that ethnicity, but I'm not Hispanic. I'm not that. I'm, I want to honor that if there is a Hispanic role for someone who is Hispanic, they should get that. And just like if there's Pacific Islander roles coming around, guess what? Like that should be on my plate, right?
Absolutely.
so yeah, I try to represent that in my work, where letting people know from the jump. Yeah, I'm a Pacific Islander. Here's everything about it. Even my headshot, if you guys notice, I put on like some of my Hawaii stuff, because I'm like, I need to capture who I am. It's not a costume. It's not a character I'm playing.
Right.
This is how I look and dress all the time. So I need to capture that and let people know that's who I am, because if I lead with that, that not only is that more authentic, but that's Pacific Islander, which is who I am,
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You definitely do it, man. And I already could tell right when I was looking at the Instagram, and we'll definitely talk more about Tom on the mic, but I was just like, yeah, this brother's cool. Like I get
right on.
everything. I can completely relate to a lot of what you're saying. And I'm sure it was challenging probably to figure out who am I, and how do I want to represent myself? But it seems like you figured it out, and I love it, man. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So from there, how do you well, I think we kind of answered this already, which was, how do you feel about this new wave of representation that it seems that mainstream media is taking the Pacific Islanders, right? We got Jason Momoa, we got The Rock, we got Moana coming out.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I love all that. I love it. Like, representation in general is like so important, and representation matters. It really does. And so to see that there's a big push for authentic representation is great. The one thing I'm a little bit worried about personally is like, with representation there also comes expectations, right? And so you named two amazing, awesome, great actors, Jason Momoa and Dwayne Johnson, right? Like, I don't look like either of them, right? And not only that, like, and again, no shade to them, but they other than like The Rock, for like, who went to McKinley for a little bit, and like Jason Momoa, who maybe is living there now, like, they're from the mainland, right? Other than them being ethnically, I'm just talking about them, like,
for sure,
like their culture, their upbringing maybe. And so it's interesting, because for me, I'm like, wow, I feel like I look more haole than them, or not as, I don't look like I fit in the box of what a Pacific Islander is for them. You know what I mean?
Or at least what people think a Pacific Islander is.
Yes.
Right? Like
yes.
Johnny Tsunami when we were growing up. You're like, that guy is not even, he's not even Hawaiian. He's not even like, I don't even know if he's Asian. I'm sure he's Asian, but like, he did not look like people I grew up around.
Exactly. And that's the thing that I think that I'm kind of coming up against a little bit, is like, hey, just heads up, like, we look like this too, like,
for sure.
Yeah.
And so you can, so if you're making Lilo and Stitch, you can still call me up, Disney, because like, I'm still Pacific Islander, you know what I mean?
You'd be perfect for it.
And it's not just about like looking like Jason Momoa with his like long hair, looking like The Rock with like the nuts, Polynesian tat or whatever. Like,
not everyone's like jacked and a surfer or something.
Yeah, exactly. Jacked and a surfer. Right. Exactly. So it's great. I love anytime there's more opportunities for anybody, I'm all for it.
Right on. Yeah, I love it, man. It's such a good time. But I agree with you. Like, show the full range of Pacific Islanders if we're gonna talk about it.
Oh, like, absolutely. Real quick, like, did you hear about there was like hate, that one, the girl who's cast as like the older sister in Lilo and Stitch that she was getting recently? Did you hear about that? Like, oh my god, maybe it was smaller than I'm making it out to be, because again, I think I saw this on like Twitter, so it's probably not a real thing.
Yeah,
exactly. Let's blow
everybody's mad on Twitter.
Yeah, because everybody's mad on Twitter. I actually legit saw like tons of people, like a thread of people complaining that like, oh, she's not even Hawaiian, how could Disney do this? And I was just thinking, I was like, wait, what? And then I looked it up and I was like, well, hold up. She's like born and raised mixed from Kauai. Like, you guys who are complaining about her not being Hawaiian don't even know what you're complaining about. You know what I mean? Right. Like, do you know how many people are actually Hawaiian, and which is, great and amazing. And we need to elevate everybody, especially, people who are of Hawaiian ancestry, but that's not all what being from Hawaii is about. You know what I mean? Right. And for them to talk about this girl who's mixed, and again, looks like us, like from Hawaii, I was like, they're complaining that she's not like Hawaiian. Do you even know what you're saying? It was just so interesting. Like, people just want to be mad about stuff sometimes,
I
sure.
do find that being a little unfortunate on some things, but there's still
Yeah.
I try, and I think we all try on this show to talk about why we love these things, why it got us
Oh
excited,
yeah.
why it fired it up, why it fires up the little kid in us again, you know? And
Mhm.
Yes.
I think there's a ton of that. And speaking of like past experience and things that you've worked on, I'm gonna read this so I don't mess this up, but you've
Sure.
had a ton of experience acting. I mean, you've done comedies at Groundlings. You've been in some major shows like Pam and Tommy, How to Get Away with
Hmm.
Murder, Jane the Virgin, incredible top-notch shows. When did you or how did you realize that this was the career you wanted to pursue?
I, in a weird way, deep down, I always knew I wanted to do this. I was always the class clown, the performer. I was the first one on the dance floor or the stage. I was always that person who, this sounds like so horrible and conceited, but I was always that little kid looking for a spotlight. You know what I mean? I was always the loud, and I'm the loudest person in any room I'm in, even now. And so I don't think I knew this was even a job, but one thing that I remember is watching Jim Carrey in The Mask. And not that I'm
Oh,
all not that I'm Jim Carrey at all, but like then I saw him in Ace Ventura,
Yeah.
hmm
and I'm like, oh my god, this guy is just making people laugh for his job. Like
Right.
that is, I want to do that, you know. I want to, and I think that's maybe what planted that seed in my head, other than me kind of already having that personality and that type. And I fought it for a long time. After college, I got a desk job, and before I knew it, I was there for like 10 years, and I was like, oh man, am I serious about acting and getting into that? Was that just something
right.
I was just wanting to do as a little kid? And I got back
Mm.
into it by doing improv again. And I was like, let me
Okay.
take some classes, let me get back in. And the minute I did it again, I was like, oh yeah, no, this is exactly
This
what
is
I
it.
need. This is it. This is what I need to do. This is what I want to do. And I'm fortunate and lucky that, that that kind of mindset and the hard work behind it to, get myself here and to put myself in positions to be seen was quickly kind of recognized, and I was able to get cast in a lot of stuff. Kind of, I mean, for all intents and purposes, pretty quickly. Like I moved
Yeah.
out here in what 2017, and not including the pandemic. I've already booked more than 6 or 7 shows. Some aren't even on IMDb yet that I
Woohoo!
can't talk
That's
about.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's really cool, and I'm really lucky, and because there are people who've been out here in Hollywood 10 years haven't got one.
Right.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of reasons why, but just for me, like getting out here and putting in the work and creating my business, essentially, to my business of being an actor, and my product is myself, and selling it in that way, and to see that people are buying the product, I'm getting cast and stuff. It's like, okay,
Right.
Yeah.
that proves. When I got that first phone call, man, Jane the Virgin was my first role that I got,
Yeah.
first official real Hollywood role that I got. And when I
Yeah.
got that phone call, I was like, holy shit, this is like everything, just all the blood, sweat, and tears and 10,000 hours like coming to a point right now. You know what I mean? It was like the
Right.
best phone call I could ever
That must
get.
have felt insane.
Oh my god, it was like I was on
Yeah.
cloud nine for like 6 months.
Yeah.
I swear to God. But then, of course, all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, phone's not ringing, and I need to
Yeah.
get,
Next job.
because
Yeah.
when you're an actor, yeah, you only get paid when you work, and so
Mm.
it's one of those weird things. It's like a drug. Like I book it, I'm like, yes, and I enjoy it, and it's great, and I'm on set, and I'm working, it's cool, and then I'm done, and then I'm like, okay, and then the high comes down. I'm like, all right, now I need another hit. I need to
What's
I need to go
next?
out there
Yeah.
and
Yep.
audition and work. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, it's so cool that you did it. You decided to take the plunge. You didn't, because I think people are scared, right? A lot of people are really
Oh yeah,
scared to like,
including me. Yeah, to begin with.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you push through the fear, and I think that's what's amazing, and it's inspirational even for me. It's like, yeah, man, okay, cool. It's not too late to try. It's not too late to
Oh, it's
do something
never
you
too
care
late to
about.
try. I just saw this awesome interview with Seth Rogen where
Hmm.
he was like, the only thing that separates the people who make it from the people who don't is that the people who don't quit. If
Right,
you don't quit, like if you don't quit and keep going, you may not make it, right? But if you quit, you're for sure never gonna make it. And
Right.
he even bringing it back full circle to X-Men, he's like, look at Ian McKellen. Like, I never heard of him until he was an X-Men, and he was what 60.
right.
And now he's one of the biggest movie stars in the world. He's in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
He's in like
Gandalf.
every franchise. He's Gandalf.
Yeah.
He's Magneto.
Yep.
And and he just kept grinding and kept hustling, and granted, he's been working and making money before that he was a household name. It's not always about being famous,
Right.
but that's exactly right. It's like, yeah, if he was like, I'm acting's hard, it's tough, I'm not on billboards yet, I'm going to give up, then guess what? He wouldn't have got there, so the only difference is the people who make it and people who don't are the people who don't actually give up. So yeah, I would just say, if you're interested in anything really, not even just this business, but if you have a dream and you have a goal, the answer is always no until you ask, until you try.
Yeah,
right,
100%. One of the dreams that I have that you've actually already achieved is being a guest on New Rock Stars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like tell me a little bit about that process. How'd you get connected with them, and what was it like?
Oh man. Yeah, that was a good example of, like, just in general, of one of the rules I would say of Hollywood that I've discovered is, like, get out there and meet people, right? Network.
Yeah.
Because again, like, you're trying to sell your product, and you have to look at it like a business, and you have to figure, and the more people who know you exist, the more opportunities you can have.
Right.
And so I totally ass backwards accidentally got into being with New Rockstars just because I had built my network out. So I had a friend that I met who was on a panel at Long Beach Comic-Con and was looking and had a bit he wanted to do and was looking for plants in the audience to help with his bit. And he knew I was doing improv stuff. So he's like, "Oh, can you come out and do that?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. Free ticket to Comic-Con. Yeah, I'll go, no problem."
Right on.
And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to have my other buddy go too." I was like, "Cool. What's his name?" He's like, Tommy Bechtold. And I was like,
wow.
Okay. Yeah. So me, Tommy, and my buddy, we drove down to Long Beach in like that 50-minute car ride, just talk story, just hang out, cruise. We ended up hanging out all day, right? Because we're doing this thing, an event. We went to get dinner afterwards. And Tommy, of course, is just as cool, if not cooler, in person than on the show. Totally. Like, he's so hilarious all the time and so smart and so humble and so nice. And so so then fast forward now, like, fast forward now a couple months, and I was already a fan of New Rock Stars, like being a nerd, like watching stuff. And all of a sudden one day,
every day.
Yeah, like, right. And one day I saw Tommy on screen, and I was like, "That's Tommy. What the?" And so I shot him a message. Yeah, I was like, "Dude, how did you?" And this was me being so naive. I didn't even realize he's one of like he's one of the stars there. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
And so I was like, "Hey, how did you get into like this New Rock Stars thing? I love that channel. I've been a fan for a long time, and I'd love to get on and talk about that." And he just emailed like a couple words, just being like, "Email this producer and tell him I sent you."
Yeah.
So I did, and I did a quick little interview. They just wanted to make sure I wasn't a psycho, and and this was at a time, like, I don't want to say New Rock Stars was like small, but it definitely wasn't as big as it is now. Totally. It was, I think this was around 2019, so it was even pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
And the channel maybe only had like 1 million subscribers or something, which is still huge.
Not
like the 3 to 4 that it has now.
Exactly.
And so so I started doing just some of the smaller shows, like new Rogue Theory that they had. And then I think once they saw that, and then plus the other thing too that you'll if you haven't noticed already, is that New Rock Stars is that the people there, like, yeah, they're nerds and they know what they're talking about, but they're all comedians. They're all from improv. Right?
Yeah, I've seen Eric talk about that a lot. EA Voss, as he says,
right? EA Voss, yeah.
Yeah, he talks about the improv grind, and I think he was even performing last year just
he still performs. Yeah, he lives in the Bay now, but yeah, he performs at a troupe out there. But like everybody from there is from improv. So like Jessica Clemens, she was she was in improv with him. Tommy and Eric met in improv. Zach is from improv. Brandon is from improv, and so all these people are improv folks. So then for me, in that same way, like Tommy knew that that I could do improv and we were laughing, hanging out that whole day from Comic-Con. So once they saw that I was a nerd and I knew improv and I could just roll with things and make jokes here and there, then that's I think that's how they just kept calling me back and stuff. And so I haven't got a chance to be on since their rebranding of everything, but I'm hoping to get back on Break Room soon. I used to do Break Room a lot, last year and year before that, so that was a lot of fun. And they bring in just other guest hosts sometimes just to mix things up,
Totally.
They
need you
so
back in there, man.
it's so fun. Yeah, it's fun. I love it. Those guys are great. And yeah, it's crazy now to be like, what? Everybody knows New Rockstars. Like, I get recognized in public for New Rockstars.
Yeah.
Which is a trip. Well, I was like,
crazy.
what? Yeah, I was like, that's nuts. Like, I forget, because we're just like this, we're just cruising in like a room,
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. You probably
and it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like that. And then a lot of these people are more famous. Like me hanging out with Jess now is like no big deal, but we get stopped a lot. You know what I mean? Like, because it's like, oh man, yeah, I forgot they're famous.
yeah. I know. I thought it was like, it was one of the highlights of the day, but at LA Comic-Con, I was able to talk to Eric, and I was able to talk to
nice.
Jessica Clemens, and got a little video with them and everything. They were super
cool,
I
want to check that out. That's so cool. Yeah, I wasn't on the panel because they just had mostly like the mainstays. But I spent one of the days with Jess and Tommy at LA Comic-Con. Man, I'm so too bad we didn't run into each other at that time.
Hey, if you're gonna be at San Diego Comic-Con, we'll be there. So
I'm gonna miss this San Diego one, but I wish I could go. Yeah.
LA this year. Hopefully I see you.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, but hey, we don't want to take up too much of your time either. I just have like a few more questions.
Yeah, for sure.
One, because you are such awesome like nerd like us. Who's your favorite Marvel character, and what superpower would you have if you could have any? I'm sure you've been asked this before.
Actually, it's not necessarily, or if it has, it's been a while. Favorite Marvel character. When I think about this, I also I think this is cheating, but I think there's different categories. Like for example, specific person, like not on a team.
Yeah.
I think Spider-Man maybe is my favorite.
Can't go wrong with that choice.
But can't go wrong. But growing up, X-Men animated series, my favorite character was always Cyclops.
Yeah,
Scott Summers. Wait, what? You're kidding? You tell
I'll exit now. You gotta be best friend.
Well, your name's Scott, so you're already.
Yeah, that's my name. That's why I've been here.
You get to be here because you're actually a Scott.
No,
Thanks,
totally.
That's freaking awesome, man. But yeah, Cyclops.
That's how we
sure.
became friends. Is I heard him talking about X-Men, and I was like, actually, I like butted in the conversation.
He just like slid in. Like, are you guys talking about X-Men?
Totally. I mean, that is fact about what happened. And and I've always been a Cyclops fan. My dad worked for a sunglass company that made the glasses.
Oakley, dude.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I ended up buying, because I knew they were running out. I have about like 5-6 pairs of the Ruby Oakley Juliets because of that. And those are my only sunglasses. And my wife always makes fun of me because sometimes she's like, are you ever going to wear these? And I was like, well, what if I lose them? Like, I can't get them anymore.
Yeah.
So like you guys don't even know, like my sunglasses that I have all the time that I actually don't wear because now I'm afraid of losing them are the Oakley Ruby Juliets.
Oh my god.
And I even bought off eBay. Someone made these 3D printed side blinders to clip in, like James Marsden's in the movie, where it looks like you're. Oh my god! I'll send it to you guys. I'll send pictures to you guys later. But yeah, it's like from the movie.
Oh my god!
But those are my most favorite. What's probably my most favorite possession that I have. Yeah, is my Oakley Juliets, Ruby Juliets.
That's amazing. Too bad you didn't get picked for jury duty, so he could have signed it. That show he's doing on the free show.
That's right. I would love to meet him. That would be an awesome moment too. Again, just because he's Cyclops, like, oh my god, that'd be so cool.
Absolutely.
But the second part, what would be my favorite power? There's a lot of good ones, of course, like flight and all that stuff. But my second favorite X-Men character is Colossus.
Yeah.
So organic steel, like like that. That's always been such a cool visual to me. And then of course I'll grant some like super strength and stuff. So just to be unique, I'm going to say that one. I'm going to say organic steel, like Colossus.
That's a good answer.
That's a great answer. Great pull, man. Well, hey, before we go, is there any future projects that you can tell us about or hint to that we can expect to see you in?
Let's see.
You're like trying to go through all your NDAs in your mind right now. You're like, which one?
Exactly. I think I can give you some clues about one of them at least. Oh yeah. So one of them is there's a TV show that'll I'm in coming out later this year. It actually was filmed in Hawaii, and so I got to come back for that. That was freaking the best experience. Like, because the set, it was like, maybe I'm going way too much here, but I'll say this: the set was like minutes from my cousin's house. So like I just stayed with her and it was amazing. And so anyway, that was great. So there's something about Hawaii that's coming out later this year. And then there's a Netflix show that I did stars an Oscar winner.
If I didn't say congrats too for booking a Netflix gig, I should have started with that. But if I didn't,
the
congrats
newer things.
to that.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Congrats to that. That's awesome.
I got 2 voiceover Netflix things that are that I've already started, which are really cool. That was awesome. You know, it's great whenever you book one thing. So to find out you booked 2 separate things in the same week was like so great. And the other thing too is that these are kind of long-term projects. They're both for shows. So I'll be in the booth recording for the next few months, assuming the actors don't go on strike tomorrow.
Right. But it's cool that you get to do both, like live action things and voice acting.
You know, and that's awesome. That was part of my kind of business model is like, you know, you want to catch a lot of fish, you got to cast a wide net, you know? So instead of just pigeonholing myself to on camera, you know, I worked on a lot of skills for voiceover, and plus I love cartoons and animation. I was like, I got to do voiceover.
Oh, heck yeah.
So
get on that new X-Men 90s.
You got to be the Hawaiian Spider-Man or like the Polynesian Spider-Man for Across the Spider-Verse.
Dude, that would be amazing if they like Lord and Miller. If you guys are listening, hit me up, dude. It's all good. I'll come in and do that.
I'll do it for minimal.
I feel like I could totally. I do feel like I could totally do a good Peter Parker, like in a video game, like Yuri Lowenthal, you know, like, hey, I'm Spider-Man, like something like that. I feel like I could totally do that.
Heck yeah.
Gotta throw some pigeon in there, though. We need a pigeon Spider-Man.
Like, go swinging with me.
We go swing.
Oh, we go swing, bro.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's amazing. God, I want that to happen so bad now.
That's like a Pacific Island. They'll probably get The Rock to do it. What am I talking about? Yeah.
Nah, it needs to be you. It needs to be you. You need to have a true fan. Oh my gosh. That's so exciting.
I would love to hear The Rock's more of The Rock's pigeon and be like, hello, got some Masubis here. Like, let's say.
My aloha, everybody.
Aloha. I'm from Hawaii. Yeah.
So like Mr. Movie Phone, but The Rock. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. We love you, Dwayne Johnson.
We do. Shout out. He's still the man. Mm-hmm. Well, hey, man, I don't know. Scott, do you have anything else?
Oh, yeah. So before you go, where can people find you? On social media and stuff so they can support you.
Social media is definitely the easiest. You can find me on Tom on the mic on everything, including Threads. Just came out. I'm on that too.
Already got you to follow, man.
Exactly.
You already posted some sick threads.
Thank you. But yeah, I would say that there's that. I mean, outside my website, thetom.com, but I update that here and there when I can. But my social media is where I post a lot about what's coming up or what I'm in next. And so that's the best place to find me. So yeah, come on there and let's hang out.
Man, this is incredible. Awesome. Yeah, mahalo to you, man. We really appreciate you coming on. It's been so fun. One thing before we go, I'll pass over the mic to you. No, wait, you have any final words before I ask you to do one last thing?
I don't think so, other than congrats to you guys too for putting together a show and coming up with a reason for you guys to like cruise. No, I mean, it's awesome. And again, you know, putting Hawaii on the map, putting the islands on the map, like I'm all for that. So thanks for putting the show together, having a fun platform like this, and hope you guys become the next new rock stars.
Right on. Me too.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, you too.
Definitely. Okay, so before we close this out, we just asked all our guests to say this. You could say it, you could not put your spin on it, whatever. But we just ask that you say, thanks for sticking it with us.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking it with us. That sounds like such a radio wannabe.
I'll take it, man. Amazing.
I love it.
Hello, everybody.
Awesome.
Bye.
Great. Thanks, guys.
The Joy Schtick Show.